Welcome back to Morning Break. Today we have Dr. William Clearfield and Michelle Perry-Roberts from the Clearfield Medical Group here with us to talk about hormones. Yeah, I know it doesn't sound like the sexiest of topics, but it's actually really interesting because there's a lot of misconceptions about hormones. So
there is.
Yeah,
actually, it is the sexiest of topics.
It is the sexiest of topics, he says. Okay, so what
because
are some of those?
If you're not interested anymore, we can make you interested again.
Well, I'm here for it. You got 5 minutes to change our perspective on hormones because there is a lot of misconceptions.
There is, and it actually has somewhat has to do with the sexiness, but it actually has to do with quality of life and how well you, as some of us are maturing more rapidly than others.
Yeah, so when we get older, obviously, we think of women going through menopause, and you were just telling me that men go through something similar.
Yeah, you know, grumpy old men.
Grumpy old men and stuff, they go through andropause, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay, so tell us about hormones as we age.
You know, whoever put us together 400,000 years ago really played a cruel trick on us. Right? So hormones are your juice of life. And everybody knows if you have a teenager, you know, they have raging hormones. But what happens is around age 25 to 27, we stop making them. They slow down. And by 45 or 50, most of us pretty much are depleted. We don't have any. And hormones do everything. Strength, energy, sense of well-being, muscle tone, sexual energy, apathy, lack of sense of anything, you know, when you don't have any. And we start losing them. Now, women know they go through menopause and it cuts off direct, you know, almost, you know, within 6 months to a year.
Wow.
In men, it sort of slowly slides out. It's almost like if you had a very expensive car and ran over a rock and you got a little pinhole in the fuel tank and the fuel sort of drips out. And at first, it's not a big deal. But then it gets worse and worse, and then all of a sudden we wake up one day and say, I hurt, I'm miserable, I don't feel like doing anything, and that's where we come in.
All right, and so what do you guys offer at Clearfield Medical Group?
Well, we do hormone optimization, so that we do a full lab panel, we do an extensive evaluation, and then our job is basically to balance everything. So there are a lot of hormones in the body, 36 major ones. We deal with about 10 of them. And the big ones that everybody knows, testosterone and estrogen, but there's a myriad of other ones. And they do all sorts of things like memory, concentration, the ability to start projects easily or not, finish projects easily or not, obsessive compulsive tendencies, like, you know, if you can't leave home unless all your shirts are lined up in your closet, or your shoes have to be lined up.
All go back to hormones.
And it all goes back to hormones. Pain management. We even see autistic kids and balance their hormones. So most, for that, autistic kids, children, usually it's boys, it's 4 to 5 to 1 boys, and they have unusually high testosterone levels for their age group. So to us, to me, this is the way, this is what we do.
Yeah, that's very interesting. I love that. And Michelle, you come in and you really offer that support group to men and women. So tell us about the support groups you offer.
We have several support groups that we're starting. We're doing a menopause support group because a lot of women, they don't understand, why do I have hot flashes? Why am I gaining weight? Why all of a sudden I can't think clearly, or why, you know, it's always these ifs. And by balancing your hormones, you're optimizing your body back. And, you know, in my case, I had to have a complete hysterectomy. Nobody put me on hormones until I started seeing Dr. Clearfield. I was like, I had all these other problems of being diagnosed with all these other chronic diseases. So once I got my hormones straightened out, it's really helped.
Wow.
You know, I don't have the hot flashes. I don't have the weight gain. It's like a miracle.
Yeah.
And then I always say men go through anapause and they go buy a new car and have an affair.
Yeah. So men need some help as well.
Yeah, men need some help as well.
Yeah.
I bought a dog.
You bought a dog?
Cairn Terrier.
You bought a dog. I love that.
But, you know, the biggest thing is that to optimize your health. That's really what our clinic is all about. So we're starting a thyroid support group too, because people, when they age, they lose their thyroid. And And then we're also doing, you know, a weight loss support group.
Wow.
And a chronic disease support group, because so many people as we age are getting diagnosed with all these different chronic diseases. There's just no support. And I've been in the community in the healthcare community for over 40 years. And my expertise of my own is having 8 chronic diseases and, you know, knowing how to navigate through doctors like Dr. Clearfield, who's optimize my health to be able to function.
And I can imagine too, when you're going through like the physical changes and stuff, there is the emotional component too, and so you can kind of get a little bit of both when it comes to the help. Have Dr. Clearfield help you through the physical changes as well as the emotional changes with Michelle.
Correct. Well, and one of the hugest things is insurance companies don't pay for preventative care. They'll give you, when you go to the gynecologist, a lot of them say, oh, that causes cancer, but that's a myth.
Yeah.
You know, hormones are plant-based.
Yeah,
Well,
and they're natural.
The ones we use.
Yeah, okay.
Early on, now I was an OBGYN, I was actually a gynecology resident for a number of years. It didn't take. But, but back in the 80s, dark ages, you know, we would do what gynecologists do. We would do hysterectomies, and then we would tell our patients, well, now you don't have a uterus, you don't need progesterone, and we used synthetic estrogen. And I remember when I was at first year, I would say to one of the senior residents, half these women come back in 2 years with breast cancer. Why is that? And we never put 2 and 2 together.
Wow.
So it turns out it was synthetic hormones and the fact that we didn't balance them with progesterone. And that's a myth that's still taught today. If you don't have a uterus, you don't need progesterone. Well, you don't need progesterone because you're not going to have a baby. But there's 47 other reasons why you do. Mostly so for sleeping, for calmness, and for brain function.
Well, that is super fascinating. So I really appreciate both of you guys stopping by. We're out of time, but like he said, he promised and he delivered. He's going to make it super interesting for us to talk about hormones today. So thank you guys both so much for being here.
If you need to get a hold of us at the clinic, please dial 775-359-12222. You can look us up on our website, drclearfield.net. Our classes will be virtual, and also none in person. So.
I like the way you got that in there.
Yeah, and I will always make sure that their information's on our website too, so you can just go straight to colatv.com after the show, click on the link, and sign up. So thank you guys so much for being here. Thank you guys for watching. We'll be right back.